Welcome to the video on complementary and supplementary angles. First, we'll start with some definitions. Complementary angles are when two or more angles add up to 90 degrees. And supplementary angles are when two or more angles add up to 180 degrees. Their definitions, relationships are simple enough. The trickiest part is really going to be remembering which of the words, complementary or supplementary, matches up with the 90 or 180. If you think about it, a lot of the times teachers will tell you, well, compliment might be like, oh, like your little baby, you're so cute. And so you think like, okay, that's a compliment to a little baby. So it's a little number, it's the smaller number. The other thing is, I don't know how familiar you are with supplements, either like vitamins or they're extra materials. Things are supplemented, then they're added to, they're larger, you're getting bigger things. So supplementary angles goes with the 180. You could even do alphabetical. C comes before S, smaller number comes before the larger number. Whatever helps you remember that complementary angles add up to 90 and supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. We're going to take a look at how we can use this a couple different ways. First one we're going to look at is from a diagram. So in this particular problem, we're finding the value of x, then finding each missing angle measure. And I know technically you're not given any information in here. I probably should have put this in the picture, but there's the yellow marking I just added in that says that is all complementary. They add to equal 90 degrees. That's my right angle. So that just allows me to set up this math equation where I can add x plus 2x plus 27 to equal 90. So all three of them together, all three angles added together equals 90 degrees. So I can simplify this by combining like terms and then going through to solve. So subtract 27 from both sides and divide by 3, x equals 21. So that means that 21 does get an angle or degree measure in that first angle, but then it's multiplied by 2 to get the 42 degrees in there, and then the 27 stays here. So the angle measures are 21 degrees, 42 degrees, and 27 degrees. That all add up, those three numbers add up to equal 90 because they're complementary angles. Here's an example of a diagram using supplementary angles. I know that they're supplementary because they are creating the line NPR. So all three of them will add up to equal 180 degrees. And we talked in the linear pair relationship that the linear pair is just specific to if there are only two angles that add up to equal 180 degrees, that's creating that line. Remember, the definition is two or more for supplementary. So here's three different angles that are adding up to create a line. So they're adding up to create 180 degrees, which makes them supplementary. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to take x minus 5. X minus 5. I'm going to add that to 4x plus 30 and add that to 2x plus 15. All of that together is going to equal the 180 degrees. So I can combine like terms, put all my x's together, that's 7x. Put all of my constants together, that looks like that's going to be plus 40. Subtract 40 from both sides, I get 7x equals 140. Divide both sides by 7, x should equal 20. So 20 is not going to get an angle measure, a degree measure on the answer because none of them are just x degrees like it was in the last problem. In this case, the 20 minus 5 would be 15 degrees in here. 4 times 20 plus 30, well that's 80 plus 30, so that's 110 degrees there. And this one is 2 times 20 plus 15. So that's 40 plus 15, which is 55 degrees. So 15 degrees, 110 degrees, and 55 degrees. Now it looks like I did do a well enough job here in actually kind of matching the diagram picture with the degree mark, please don't always trust that. Just because this in here looks like it should be 15 degrees compared to 55 and 110 doesn't mean it's always going to end up that way. So please just always double check your calculations, plugging in your answer into the expressions that are given. The other type of problem you could see with these complementary and supplementary angle problems are not just from diagrams, but now from words. So I'm going to read this to you. It says 3 angles are supplementary. One of them measures x degrees, and the other 2 measure 2x plus 10 degrees each. What is the measure of the 2 missing angles? And I guess really there are 3 missing angles here, but there's really only 2 separate answers since the 2 measures seem to measure the same. So if we need to draw a quick little picture, like I'm going to do it super quick. Supplementary means that I'm drawing a line. It does say 3 angles, so I'm just going to split them into 3 sections there. One of them is x, and the other ones are 2x plus 10 each. So that's the diagram that we're looking at here. Now mathematically setting up my equation, I'm just going to set it up using some distribution since 2 of them are 2x plus 10. That's 180 degrees. Let me get that 180 degrees there. Give me some space to solve that problem. So I'm going to use some distribution for this one. So distributing the 2 through, and then that will allow me to do some simplifying by combining like terms. So 5x plus 20 equals 180. I'm going to subtract 20 to both sides to get 5x equals 160. I will then divide by 5, so x is going to equal 32. So because one of them is an angle measure of x, so that one is 32 degrees. The other ones I'm going to need to do some quick work for. 2 times 32 plus 10, so that's 64. Excuse me, plus 10. So 74 degrees and 74 degrees. So those are my 3 angle measures for the supplementary angles. Okay, this is going to be our last example for this video, our word example for complementary this time. It says 2 angles are complementary. One of them measures 8x degrees and the other measures 34 degrees. So just drawing this example really quickly. Complementary means that I have 90 degrees there. I'm just going to split it. One of them is 8x. One of them is 34. Because they are complementary, that means I can add them together to equal 90 degrees. So if I solve by subtracting 34 from both sides, I get 8x equals 56. Divide by 8, x equals 7. Or finding the value of x, so x equals 7 is my answer for this one. So it just says find the value of x, so I'm done. If I actually wanted to find the angle measures, obviously 34 is the one that's given there, and 8 times 7 is 56. There, so those are my 2 missing angles, but all I had to do is find value of x technically in this one. Okay, I just wanted to go ahead and add a little summary of what has been talked about these last 2 lessons. Complementary and supplementary are the new in this video, but then adjacent, vertical, and linear pair was talked about in the last one. So this is what the focus will be on the next assignment, and this is just kind of like the angle relationships in summary. So if we look here, the definition, remember complementary adds up to 90 degrees, supplementary adds up to 180 degrees. Adjacent, they need to share a vertex and a side. So adjacent, remember, means that these are next to each other. And the vertical, they're opposite each other at an intersection of 2 lines. And the linear pair is adjacent angles that create a line. So let's take a look at some examples. So nothing is marked here as far as letters and angle measures by any means. So you just have to go with me here that these 2 are 90. These 2 lines are creating 90 degrees in here. So these 2 angles are complementary because they add to equal 90 degrees. Supplementary, they add to equal 180. So I just took a line and I split it in half. And that actually means I'm going to jump down to the linear pair. Look at the linear pair example. It's exactly like the supplementary example. except for it's just going in the opposite direction. The only difference between supplementary and linear pair is that linear pair is specific to just two angles adding up to create a line. Supplementary could be two or more, so I could put in a couple extra angles here, and all of those, well, how many did I give myself here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So now these 4 angles are considered supplementary because they're adding to be 180 degrees. Remember that the vertical are their opposite. So like this one, let me number them. If I had angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. Angles 1 and 3 are vertical, 2 and 4 are also vertical. So 1 and 3 are vertical, 2 and 4 are vertical. Those are the only vertical relationships there, but like 2 and 3 would technically be a linear pair. 3 and 4 are a linear pair. And then backing up here to adjacent, I just tried to make this not so much of a 90-degree angle here, but these are two angles that are next to each other. Technically, coming back up to the complementary, these two angles are also adjacent. Being next to each other doesn't give me an actual value. It can help me if I know what the total is. It doesn't actually help me with a value just by being adjacent. It's the complementary that helps me find a missing value, or the supplementary. You have to know more information than just the fact that they're touching each other about being adjacent or not. So hopefully you guys can use this information to help you guys get through the practice. And of course, if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching.